Okay, we've talked about how the youth of now can act, but what about the older generation? What can we tell them rather than fight against the older generation? We need their help also.
That's a great question. I've never really showed that much interest in AI. And so when I told my teachers and my friends I was going to talk about it, they were like, why? Like, why you? Which was a little bit demotivating because I had so much passion, I had so much interest, because it was my future that was at stake. And to hear them tell me that it wasn't a good topic or it didn't sound like me, I think if the older generations really tried to understand where young people are coming from, because this is our future at stake. Because we are growing up in a time of uncertainty, so they should be there to support us and not tell us that what we have to say doesn't matter.
Good answer, well done. I think from my perspective, on what I've talked about, I think the best thing would be, I think the most criticism I faced has been from older generations, but it's not even to demise it at all. I think we've all grown up in different ways, and that's okay. It's okay to understand that we're all going to react to things very differently. So I think if it comes to being aware of situations or how you can control situations in a cultural response, I would say to the older generations, don't listen to reply, listen to understand. Because there are some things that you can control and that you cannot control. So I'd say focus on that, but I think all it takes is just to really listen and not to, you'll get your point across, but also listen to those that you're in a conversation with too. So yeah, just listening to understand.
Awesome answers. From my perspective, I think regardless of the older generation, younger generation, or our generation, I think learning to be adaptable and being able to hear out for others and not having some sort of tied-in perspective with age, because we all have different perspectives that we can bring into the table, and that's what we all need to kind of understand and be adaptable about.
When talking to the older generations, I tell them, this is not my quote, history doesn't repeat itself, but it certainly does rhyme. Everything that is happening nowadays is not this, while changing and shifting, is just mirroring change and shifts we've seen in the past, and we can take inspiration from the change that older generations have created themselves when we move to the future. So when you look at us and the change that youth are calling for, take a second, think about your own youth, think about the change you fought. I've spent this year researching, being interested in the countercultural movements of the 60s, and I think the older generation has so much wisdom to give, but also needs to look at where we are and where we're forging forward. Great answers, guys, thank you. Another question, this is about youth. How do you think we as youth can overcome conflict when we fight within ourselves? Take a moment.
Yeah, I had to do it or something, not me.
Repeat the question, please.
How do we as youth overcome conflict when we fight within ourselves? Or how do you think we should?
Yeah, Kiana said what she said was right. Like, I wish I had ChatGPT right now to be able to give me a response. I think what all of the speakers said today, there was a message that was clear that the power of now is within us, and everything that we choose to do, every action we choose to take will benefit us in the future. So I'm not really sure if this is just a whole lot of yap or if it's actually answering the question, but I feel like it's just a whole lot of yap. But knowing that we do have what it takes, and we are the ones that will be inheriting the future, so we should care about it, we should make an effort to, I guess, nurture it, and yeah.
Don't give me that look. I think to answer your question, I think there's a perception that conflict is gonna go and then it will stop and it will instantly be resolved. To me, conflict can go and it can stop, but the idea of conflict is somewhat ongoing. It's something that will always be there, that's just the norm, that's just part of life. So I think for you, in terms of when it comes to dealing with conflict, I would really say that being able to strategize and navigate kind of through understanding one another. I think we've had really similar talks today where a lot of our youth are very passionate, or they feel like they have to focus on so many things, but they don't. So I think kind of being able to find a mutual basis of, a problem or a topic or something that really, is feeling inside of you, being able to, talk to someone about it and form a mutual basis of, how can we resolve this conflict, or how can we go through it together? Because I think a lot of us, we have our own lives, we get so busy that we forget that we're surrounded by so many people that we love and that we care about. So utilizing the people around you, I'd say, is the best way for you to deal.
For me, I just lost my train of thought. It's really about, it's like a mind game, really. Learning to kind of surrender yourself to that acceptance that everyone goes through conflict in a conflict, and that you're never alone. You are never alone, in fact, and the way that you choose to fight, or I guess carry out the way you deal with your inner conflict, can be dealt in a very mature way. And I guess the way that I would personally do it would be the whole acceptance and knowing that everyone goes through this, and helping yourself know that you're never alone. Yeah.
I think this question is really a really good question, because we obviously live in a very divisive world, a very angry world, where people are so quick to react to everything that everyone says. It's a moment of, I need to respond to that, they're completely wrong, I need to tell them they are wrong. But that is not how we work together, it's not how we're going to get forward and make progressive change. We need to take that breath, take that moment, stop looking for fights almost. If you have a strong conviction or a strong belief, the best way you can show that is through finding that shared understanding, finding connection. Where can you connect with people who profoundly disagree with you? That's how we're going to forge forward. Just have one more general question.
I'm scared.
Hopefully it's a little simpler. What are some simple ways that we can embrace the power of now in everyday life?
Good question. Very relevant. I think really taking time amongst all of the busyness to be present in what you're doing, be present in all the tasks and all the activities you're doing. It's so easy to constantly be living in the pursuit of the next thing, thinking about what's coming next, thinking about what's coming tomorrow, but to actually focus on the task you're doing at hand. And I think that's the best way to embrace the power now.
I guess adding on to that, I would say that, sorry, I can't laugh. She's like my a little ChatGPT laugher right here, so bear with me. I would say, I think about Nitya's speech, and it's kind of like the whole 7 minutes thing, where it's like, if I can just take out a small amount of my time just to take a step back from everything and be like, okay, hold up, we need to take a breather for a minute and actually, think about the stuff that's really important to us. I think one idea that you can think about is going back to your roots in a way, or going back to your why. What is your why? I think we get so caught up in everything that we forget why we do things or what you're striving for, and it's just you're just trying to get to the end goal, but you forget about the journey. And I think the power of now, even though it's present, you are also looking for the future too. So I think just appreciating the journey, that even if you're going through struggles right now, even if you're doing, homework, if you're doing uni assignments, if you're in clubs or whatever, you can just say to yourself, okay, this is what I want, this is my why, but also what a privilege it is to be, so exhausted, what a privilege it is to, really experience this. So I think keeping yourself in check is something I would recommend.
Thinking back to my speech earlier before, the 7-minute rule has really changed my way of thinking and getting things done. And just to mention, the average speech here today was 7 minutes long. So if you're able to listen to 8 of these today, that's already 56 minutes right there. And being able to focus for that time or paying attention for 7 minutes each day that's more than enough for you to do and be present with what you're doing and what you want to get done. So never underestimate the power of time and the power of now, because there's so much that you can do. And as they say, it's better to regret. It's better to feel in pain of doing the work now rather than the pain of not doing the work and feeling it later. I'm like butchering the whole line, but I know you guys get the point. That would be it.
My answer actually might be a bit antithetical to some of my speech, because I went on about how now is the moment because we live in such a scary world. But I think it's important to remember that we also live in such a beautiful one. We are at the stage in a time where we have so much progress, we have so much innovation, so much technology at our fingertips that people tens or hundreds of years ago could not fathom or imagine. This moment is so important because it's so scary, but also because it's so wonderful. So I think I'm very guilty of not starting things or not taking action, but sometimes actually going out and seeing the world can be the best way to start or to kickstart you back into action. See the thing that you are striving towards instead of just some endless goal. Actually look at the world. I want to be an active citizen in this, and that's how that's how I at least stay in the present, I think.
Thanks, guys. We're going to move on to some individual questions now. So we'll start with Adli. How do you think youth